Hey guys, this is BritishStarCraft, and today I'm bringing you a Masters League game between Crow in the top right of the map, and Crow will be playing a Terran, and the opposing player is Slivain, the purple Zerg in the bottom left of the map, and the map itself is Shikura's Plateau. And with Shikura's Plateau we again have hidden areas where you can do all kinds of cheesy things, but in Masters League, unless you're pretty darn confident, and this does look to be a probably like an expedition match. I don't want to say it's a ladder match because they're not the normal colours they normally are. Terran is normally red, but it might not be. It might be, but I would say it's probably not. And Crow is walling off very wisely against our Terran, and Slivain has sent his Overlord around to scout, and he's got his second one out now. And it does look like he's going to scout with a probe as well, so he is in fact going to be doing a little bit of triple scouting. Whilst early on nothing too spectacular happening, some probe production. Our Terran person is getting his barracks up, and look at this, it's on the low ground. He's going to wall off here, which will allow him to take this expansion fairly securely, and the Zerg won't be able to do anything about it if the Terran person maybe gets a bunker and another barracks. Then our Zerg Slivain won't be able to get near it. But here we have the probe. It's coming into a scout. It's going to, yes it is. I was going to say it could attack the SCV making this barracks, and that could be a bit of trouble. He needs to cancel and engage, and I think this drone is going to go down, but is the SCV going to go down first? I'm not sure. He's rebuilding the barracks with the old SCV whilst this one hightails it out of there, and there's another one coming to engage the drone, but the drone has pulled off, and that harassment was not successful, not costing Crow anything. But the drone is getting a good scout around, just checking nothing too obscure is going on. But like I say, all we have is we have our one barracks, and there we are. There's the early command center from our Terran player, which is significant because the Zerg is only just expanding, and as everyone knows, Zerg always wants to be one base ahead in order to maximise its potential. But we do have a Marine coming out targeted on this probe. I expect to see that rally point changed in a minute because that probe is running the hell out of there. And the command, not Planetary Fortress, the other one, Orbital Command, is coming up. I always call Orbital Command Planetary Fortresses. You'll have to bear with me on that. But we have that coming up for our Terran player, with his second command centre, some Marines, and we have our gas coming up for Slivain, our Zerg. And the Terran player, I'm not quite sure what he's doing scouting around. I think he's checking to make sure there isn't a hidden expansion, which is always possible, but this Marine seems to have either done what it was meant to do or not done what it was meant to do. But actually what our Zerg's doing with these Overlords is just making sure that, I suppose in late, I expect it was probably to scout in the first instance, but if he leaves it there it can also be sure to check late game, but I suspect he's probably just going to float it in around here, check the expansion timing, seeing what's going down, and we do in fact have a 3 barracks wall off on the front ramp, and I have a feeling there's probably enough space for a Marine to run down around there, but I'm not sure. That might be it. Otherwise, I can guarantee we'll see some dropship play, because the Marines aren't going to be able to get out without it unless they shoot through these rocks, which is another interesting thing about this map. We have rocks you can shoot through, and if you take this expansion and these rocks stay, you are relatively safe because you still have these. So a Terran especially, some missile turrets here, and some siege tanks, and that's very difficult, and perhaps a planetary fortress, and that's very difficult for the Zerg to break. But we have 4 Zerglings now moving down to the map, hoping to do harass, but I don't think it's going to do that much against 3 Marines, although the Terran player needs to be careful not to get caught off guard here. Zerg is just tagging that watchtower, but nothing really to see, and he's splitting up these Zerglings just to, I expect he's going to put them on top of possible expansion locations, just to give him a really clear heads up of when the Terran is going to be expanding again. But as we see, if we look into the drone count, the Zerg is ahead, which is what you'd expect, but the Terran player is doing his very best to keep up on 2 bases also. And there's gas going up for both of them, although I think the Zerg player has indeed got more gas, which is always interesting. And we do have an engineering bay going up, so I expect we'll be seeing +1 attack come out of that, and then we'll have a timing push. It looks like Marine only, so I would expect to see some Banelings in response Nope, we have a spire coming up and a baneling's nest. We actually have a spire and a baneling's nest coming up, which could be very dangerous. But here we go. We're going to scan the baneling nest. Do we scan the spire? No, but we also have a lair, a baneling's nest. I think he saw the spire. I'd have to be sure that he actually saw that. Did he see the spire? He did. He has seen the spire and he has seen the baneling nest. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was to get cancelled, just to throw the gate off the scent. But again, I don't think that's really going to be too much trouble with all these Marines. I think what the Terran player needs to really beware of is the fact that these Marines are going to get completely mobbed by the baneling counter, which is going to be coming out for. Here we have so many. Where are they spawning in? I don't know, but we have a huge amount of banelings just came in there. Here we are. And these Marines need to be very careful not to get taken out, because if that happens, then although he does have an engineering base so we can put up turrets, the Terran player is going to find himself hard pressed not to get wiped out and then be right up for some air harassment, which I think he needs to be very careful about. But our Terran player is very wisely getting both siege tanks and siege mode, which should help defend against these banelings. He just needs to be sure to keep the siege tanks positioned up, and yes, he does have missile turrets coming up, just to be absolutely sure. But even if his Marines get taken out, there is not going to be any mineral line harassment, unless obviously the Zerg gets that critical mass. But we have some moving out here from Slivain, our player, and he's doing fairly well at keeping map control. You can see he's got Zerglings on each one of these watchtowers, just giving him complete sense of map control. The only real way that the Terran player can move unnoticed now is if he gets no dropship and comes right around here. But I don't think he's going to go anywhere that extreme, because as you see, he has Zerglings on a really good perimeter right around the Terran's base, so he's going to see exactly the timing of this push. I would not be surprised to see if this army starts pulling back. Yeah. So he's going to know that this is happening. He's going to see the siege tank. He's going to assume that there's probably siege tech coming out. Here's the second one, and in response we have metabolic boost for the Zerg and burrow. Burrow will be very important, because and obviously the Mutalisks. Burrow will be very important because it the Terran player has no detection in this army. So far he might need to get Starport and a Raven, because that burrow, unless he wastes a scan, which obviously costs the Terran long term because he can't use a mule. And ooh, our Terran is supply blocked. He was temporarily there anyway. But we have this huge army moving up. These siege tanks need to be very sure not to get caught out of position, because this is a lot of banelings for this many Marines that could take that army. But the siege tanks are good at sieging up there, and I think the Terran is going to push in with these Marines and test the water. But there is a spine crawler here to counter to add some static defense. But the longer the Zerg leaves this Terran army, the more hard it's going to get for him to repel it, because as you see, more and more siege tanks coming out, more and more Marines. But Mutalisks here, the Marines have stimmed up, but I think that was just a waste of 10 HP and all of their Marines, to be honest. There are no medvacs, so that is going to be a lasting amount of health taken off. But you see the Mutalisks try to do some damage. What I would advise doing, although I wouldn't advise it now because he has so many missile turrets, I would have said to possibly go around and try and do some mineral line harassment. But we do have another expansion going up for our Terran, which is very good play. Expand whilst attacking, always a very strong play to do. But here we go, our Terran player's going in, just testing the waters. I think he might have seen something, but he noticed these Mutalisks are coming around. When he comes in there, the banelings, and yes, that's very good play there from our Terran player, steaming their Marines away and allowing them to go into the firing line of the tanks. And now I have a feeling that these Marines are going to push in and they're going to devastate this Mutalisk army. Some fairly nice micro coming along, but is it going to be enough? One spine crawler goes down, second spine crawler goes down, Queen goes down. These drones need to migrate. They're going to get slaughtered. All the Mutalisks are dead. Hatchery's getting hurt, half HP, lower. GG Re. Oh, we have a GG Re. That is a good game. So there we are. That is what you have. The banelings were just slaughtered. The Terran play was just spectacular. He ran up the ramp, waited for the banelings, and then stimmed and ran right back into his siege line. Took them banelings right into a meat grinder. They got taken out. Hardly lost any Marines. Marines are obviously a really good counter to Mutalisks if they can shoot air. And then he snapped his hatchery, and at that point the Zerg player really had nothing going for him. His Terran player had a second base, a third base even as well, even though the Zerg did, but he just lost this, so the Zerg was in on 2 base to a Terran 3 base, which is never a good thing to be a Zerg. What the Zerg player did do very well though was make sure he had map control here, getting both the Xel'Naga watchtowers and positioning his overlords around in such a way that he would be able to see if the Terran was breaking down these rocks and going for this expansion. He had a Zergling here, which would have told him if the Terran was planning on expanding here or breaking down these rocks, but I don't think he actually saw that. The second expansion, nope, he did not see the second expansion. But very, very strong play from both players there, and especially good macro from Chrome. Yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. I think in the future I'll probably cast mostly Platinum and Diamond League games, but it's always fun to have a Masters League game just to show you how their Masters play, and that was a very, very strong game. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you later.